there is a mystery, which is what we can call the cross used by the Templars, because it was not a Templar cross in itself. It was more ancient, present in Sumeria. And look what he has in his chest.
Gotta come down through there to get here.
Well, many rulers came from the stars, no?
Yes.
The so-called fallen angels, the men that were sinful. No? And Berossus says that in Sipar they gather wisdom. And I think this cross might represent this confluence of heaven and earth. And they recovered texts. They found arcs, physical arcs. They invented the bank system as well, which in those days was useful. It's amazing. Here in Spain, you lose the 60% of everything you earn.
Oh, it's totally unfair.
There might be some Masons or Templars that in those days had good intentions, but as you say,
Absolutely.
They got contaminated.
Without a doubt.
That can be the origin of the Freemasonry as we understand it today, which became very materialistic. The steps are a hierarchy, not an hierarchy.
Right.
He's very zealous of the Islamic law. He is not the mystic side of Yunus. He's more into the esoteric deep meaning. In Ireland, there were monks, teams of monks writing down the traditions from the Celts, esoteric Christianity as well. At oneness, it seems also Atum.
Yeah, oh, very close.
I don't think those are coincidences, because English...
No way, no how.
English was shaped by esoteric orders back in the Middle Ages and later on in the 15, 16, 1700s. Mostly because of the influence of the Templars, the Knight Templars, even though they were in contact with other orders that were much older. But that's another interesting subject.
Absolutely.
And when most people would think the Templars were just a military order, but I think they were gathering wisdom that came from time immemorial. And well, they use the help of the church as a platform to fulfill their research. Actually, there is a man called Timothy Hogan. I don't know if you have watched his documentaries, but he's in YouTube. And he speaks about the Templar order as a movement that started with a spiritual quest and also trying to recover the wisdom of Atlantis. And they went into Jerusalem and they recovered texts and also artifacts. They found arcs, physical arcs, which might be connected to the Ark of the Covenant. And well, he gives a very materialistic interpretation. He says the Templar discovered a way of using those arcs as energy capacitors, which might be one of the functions of those arcs. But their idea was to recover the wisdom of Atlantis. And they were in contact with orders in the Middle East, the Mediterranean. And there they started a quest. So there were two main founders of the Knight Templar order, which were Godfrey de Saint-Omer, and the other was Hugh de Payens. And in the 1118 or 19, Hugh de Payens suggested that it was necessary to create this order, and the church in the beginning approved, even financial support. There were people supporting financially the expeditions. They got one of the Cistercian monks, Bernard de Clairvaux, as they call it, and he wrote the principles of the order. So they have to be serving Christ, so to say. They couldn't just be pursuing any enterprise. And they found important texts, many of which were rediscovered later, probably in Nag Hammadi, Qumran, but they had access to many of those texts before they were discovered here in the West. And there is a mystery, which is the cross they have, the Templar cross. Even the Templars admit it connects heaven and earth, the spirit and matter, because it's the vertical plane of the spirit and the horizontal plane of matter, or the world. And they were kind of emissaries or messengers trying to bring wisdom from the heavens to the earth. This is why they had confratries of builders, masons, that built the cathedrals. Well, I don't know if they had awareness of the millennium, maybe. As we were commenting the other day, the millennium is spiritual but also physical. There were monks gathering wisdom in monasteries. In Ireland, there were teams of monks writing down the traditions from the Celts.
Wow.
From esoteric Christianity as well. And the artistry is amazing. The painstaking calligraphy and shapes, geometric forms full of wisdom, that cannot be a coincidence. They knew what they were doing. They were preserving something, because from time to time there are destructions.
Yeah.
So they brought with the wisdom from the heavens into the earth. But I think the Templars got mixed up with this materialistic current and militaristic service as well, because they also were in charge of defending the Christian roots of pilgrimage. They invented the bank system as well, which in those days was useful, because you would be assaulted in the roads, and if you carried a large amount of money, bye-bye.
Yeah.
Even now. But it's a paradox, because some of us are thinking about how to use an alternative to the bank system because of the taxes. Mainly, it's amazing. Here in Spain, you lose the 60% of everything you earn.
Oh, it's totally unfair. Yeah.
So,
I mean, that's so to say why that's why we got a country over, I mean, I guess not even we, I don't want to be I want to associate myself with any kind of, outside entity, but that's why there's a country over here, you know what I mean, that they said it was taxation without representation and overtaxed and over governance and everything, and then you try to get something new and then what creeps in? What creeps in and takes over, you know what I mean? And it's just more of the same. And it's just like, I think, like, just like the Templars, like you were saying, they started off with great intentions, but what was everybody else's intentions behind them? All the support. You don't know everybody's. Sometimes you don't even know where your support is coming from. You got to. That's another thing of being in presence. Then you'll be able to differentiate where certain things are coming from. When they're coming from an outside source, so to say, or an unknown source, or a deep dark source. So you really, they say the road to hell is paved with good intentions. So you really got to watch your intentions, and not only yours, or if you're getting support, what are the intentions of those who are supporting, you in that work, also.
Exactly.
A lot of groups start headbutting, because everybody got their own intentions, and we have to be that. We have but we have to be our true selves. If you're coming from the perspective or the point of true self, and then there's only one perspective, there's not a multiple intentions or perspectives. You know, there's only that one, and then we could all, and that's when we touched on that's the body. You know, the pinky toe can't tell the elbow, I don't need you. You know, because we're all in the head. We're all connected to the head. You know, and in that body.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's where the Templar cross comes into scene, because it's the vertical line of our mind, which tends to imagination and flies to the heavens, no? And the body, which is horizontal experience, no?
Yeah, and we got to remember that heaven is a place on earth also, because we're here. You know,
Exactly.
so.
Even in ancient times, the Templar cross, what we can call the cross used by the Templars, because it was not a Templar cross in itself, it was more ancient. Actually, that was present in Sumeria. I don't know if you are aware of this, but I was shocked by some of the stela or representations. I'm going to show you one. This is a king, and look what he has in his chest.
Yeah, wow.
An Assyrian king, Shamshi-Adad, 823, 811 BC. So the 9th century before Christ. And it's associated to Ninurta. Ninurta is the son of Enlil and Ninlil. So one of the Anunnaki gods.
He got his watch on.
Yes, that's the famous Sumerian clock, which might have to do with the ages, the time measure, because here there are the sun, planets, Saturn.
Yeah, got to come down through there to get here.
Well, many rulers came from the stars,
Yes.
the so-called fallen angels.
Right.
They incarnated in human beings. And there is a tradition from Berosus. He was a priest, Sumerian or Babylonian priest from the 3rd century BC. And he said that there is a legendary place called Sipar, which is a confluence of traditions. And in this place, the gods gathered again to assemble the lost wisdom. There was a deluge. In Sumeria, they spoke of the destruction of Dilmun, the paradise, which was like Atlantis or like the flood in the Bible that destroyed the men that were sinful. And Berosus says that in Sipar, they gather wisdom. And I think this cross might represent this confluence of heaven and earth.
Yeah.
The meeting point of something that was lost.
Right.
Which
it looks like he got his finger there in the hole of the dam, like blocking the energy from going up and down.
Yes, it seems it's something that can be interpreted that way, because once you gather wisdom or knowledge, there is always someone that distorts that knowledge or wants to get in control of that wisdom in order to exert dominion over the people. Actually, this is the idea of Plato.
That's why the Templars borrowed that cross. Sorry. I'm saying that's why the Templars borrowed that cross, because those had the intentions behind them to gab at wisdom and use it for their own purposes and against others, and hide it and hoard it.
That can be the origin of the Freemasonry as we understand it today.
Yeah.
Which became very materialistic.
Right, because even Ishu said that you have the keys to the kingdom, but you don't use them, and you block others from using them. So he's even telling us that the wisdom is there, the presence is there, but yeah, you know, they have the keys, but they're just hiding them away so nobody else finds them.
It's a pyramid system.
Yeah.
Where the single eye is on the top. The steps are a hierarchy, not an hierarchy.
Right.
And that's where presence gets stuck. There might be a sort of healing influence or divine presence in certain stone temples. Even Gurdjieff said that some shrines and cathedrals and mosques are built in a certain way to store energy.
Yeah,
which
absolutely.
Actually is one of the theses of Timothy Hogan, which is a Templar today, and he says the Templars knew about the science of collecting energy, which is something they inherited from Atlantis. And it's very possible.
Absolutely.
But what use was, in the end?
Yeah, to destroy yourself.
Yes. The church is filled with esoteric symbols. Even the Templar cross is in the Pope. It's one of the symbols of the papal or papal, no papal, papal cross.
Yeah, yeah, the PayPal cross.
So that's another cross. I have a PayPal account, and every time I receive money, they say you cannot get the money until a month later. What are you doing with it?
That's so they could get the interest on all them millions of dollars sitting there every day.
Yeah.
They compound their interest where you're not supposed to charge somebody 20% interest. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now there is another connection with this. There might be some Masons or Templars that in those days had good intentions, but as you say,
Absolutely.
they got contaminated
Without a doubt.
by materialistic enterprises.
Yeah. I think that's present in all religions and government and science, all those fallen entities, all the good intentions, you enter it with good intentions, but if you stay there long enough, you get clouded, you get confused, you ain't coming back to presence and true self, and you think you're on a mission, you think you're doing a good thing, and you're just on that thought train, and you go down the rabbit hole, so to say.
Yes, because there is no inner work. There is selfishness in the end. Actually, you can see that in many spiritual organizations. Spiritual in quotation marks. Pride and I am better than you attitudes.
Hierarchy system.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We can even see that in traditions that came from the most exquisite teachings.
Yeah.
The Sufi order, for instance.
Say don't throw your pearls to swine, right?
Exactly.
And that's what happens.
You can see that exactly in the TV series Yunus, Emre, because when Yunus becomes a dervish, he meets obviously the brethren, but they are led by the right hand of the sheikh, the leader of the community. And this right hand is very zealous of the Islamic law. So he is not the mystic side of Yunus, he's more into the esoteric deep meaning. But this other member, he knows about the spiritual side, but he's very adamant. And in the end, they get into conflict, especially because one is jealous and he wants to be the leader and the successor. And he sees Yunus is gaining the heart of everyone with his behavior and his sharp intelligence. But in the end, you see how those who enter certain mystic communities or spiritual communities have ambition to become the leaders, the transmitters of some important teaching, and they see a wall. And in this TV series, in the end, well, this member leaves the community. Having experienced the wisdom of the teacher, which was great, he didn't understand it, and he left. So I think that might happen with most of the organizations.
Absolutely.
Which get very tight, very dogmatic and rigid. Did I show you the video of the Sufi? Well, this guy that dressed like a Sufi, he's not a Sufi, but he lives here in Madrid. He's from the north of Madrid. Let me show you. I recorded it in the encounter that we had last year, the music therapy, Sufi music therapy.